gotta work this time. Gotta get this out. This is the reading of the poem that was put together by about 10 of us. I did personally write it ultimately, but it was with concepts that came from between 5 and 10 people. It's hard to say every single detail as to the actual words and quotes in the poem, but I can give you this much information. The beginning is a concept that I discussed with the captain at great length just a few years before he passed. The 184 and surviving survival. Cognitive dissonance, a concept we know all too well, no less than our sense of sight, touch, and smell. That struggle in the morning to drag ourselves out of bed, no more of a struggle at night when we try to rest our head. The world became a scary place to be. Not the physical fear alone, rather fear of life itself interacting within society. Do they understand this pain? So real, so raw? The pain of mere existence, as real as Newton's law. For survivors and those who lost family or friend, there is a pain we share together in the end. Can they recognize the struggle between gratitude and anger? Maybe they need to experience the museum in an airplane hangar. What does survive even mean as we're plagued with images in our mind, so misunderstood by the world even when it's trying to be kind? We memorialize those who perished, ultimately the loss of life. But what about that piece of us inside that never ceases to have strife? We all know the feeling of having a price tag put on our head, an objective and objectified feeling as if there is no part of us that is dead. Are we worth more breathing air than those 6 feet in the ground? What about the images, pain, all looked over as if we are safe and sound? Yes, here in this world we are, but there is a piece of us in the distance. To grab it, it's way too far. So much of our mind and so much dissonance to accept. A permanent room locked in our head where all that noise is kept. We never forget the 112, the 112 that perished that fateful day, nor can we forget those alive whom have so much they wish they could say. Those who rest in peace are memorialized and must never be forgotten. But we plead with the world, do the same for us, even though we have no physical coffin. We walked away with life and are so grateful to have survived. But can they see the suffering in silence, even though we are alive? It's so difficult to wake and face the day ahead. Equally as difficult are the images in our mind when we try to lay our head. Again, we wonder, for us, what does it mean to be alive? While we all know that a piece of us didn't even survive. Survivors, they call us, and we are grateful that we are here. But there is pain deep inside, often too deep to even bear. So, cognitive dissonance, that concept we do know. Is it more painful awake or asleep with images like the most horrific light show? There is know, reprieve, we know, and like cognitive dissonance, it's just as profound. There is a place we are understood with our family, the family in Sulan. I say there is a concept we know, and like cognitive dissonance, it's just as profound. There is a place we are understood with our family, the family in Sulan. They drop their world on the dime. Once a year we are understood, and that's July 19th in Sioux every single time. I say they drop their world on the drop of a dime. Once a year we are understood, and that's July 19th in Sioux every single time. It comes down to anyone willing to lend a hand when we're forgotten and let down. Ultimately, those willing, like those in Siouxland. It's so hard as we are constantly down, but here in Siouxland, no one ever flashes us a frown. Life is so fragile regardless of which side. There is suffering and trauma from both the dead and alive. We push through the world with appreciation of what we have been given, but it does not make the world less painful for us to actually live in. Hope that was good for you guys. I just wanted to get it in one take. I wanted to get it in one stream, just so that somebody can literally look back and see it on its own. That poem is for the 184, not to push aside, not to push aside the 112 that perished, but sometimes the 184 are not given the opportunity to express the pain and the suffering that we experience throughout life from this horrifically traumatic experience. It's also not to take away from the heroic actions of the crew. It's not. It's just another thing necessary to help all those involved. I say to anyone who experiences trauma, reach out whenever you want. It's pretty easy to find me. Have a great morning, I guess, and a great day.